link, so I apologize. If you want to go back there, you can. So anybody watching who usually watches on YouTube, I apologize. We got a great crowd this morning. I'm a little surprised with the lack of YouTube ability. Let me sure did I own? I don't think I put Let's Talk Sports in here either. What was I doing yesterday? I left Let's Talk Sports off. Add them right now. Thank you, CA. It's been a busy week, man. I go back to work on Rice. Ben Rice, yes, nice game. First Yankee in history with rookie, I should say. First Yankee rookie with 3 home runs in one game. 7 RBIs. He's added some energy to this lineup. Batted leadoff yesterday. He's a kid so far. I like him. We've seen these kind of things with the Yankees before, Shane Spencer, Kevin Moss. I need to see more, but right now I like what he's offering, and they're not ready to bring up Spencer Jones yet. You may see him before the end of the season. I know that Dominguez had a setback. I don't know what his situation is. Going to be interesting to see what the Yankees do here with the trade deadline coming up at the end of this month, because there's a lot to fill. Again, everybody's trying to, not everybody. There's this one guy who kind of will reach out to me from one of the groups, and he could be watching, and I apologize. I won't call him out by name, but he'll ask me questions, I think basically wanting to be able to give me his opinion. I said, we need pitching. He says, we don't need pitching. The starting pitching's fine. Yeah, starting pitching is fine. Schmidt's out for an extended period of time. Cole's still rounding into form. Rondon, 3 of his last 4 starts have been atrocious. Plus, he also he didn't really show up Boone, but he almost did. He came this close to showing up Boone the other night when he pulled him. Stop. Aaron Boone needs a whole guy's account. I've said this forever. This slide, again, this is not new. These things have happened to this team, and I know it happens to teams. At least it's not happening in the season like it did 2 seasons ago. They went into the playoffs with no momentum. But Aaron Boone's lack of holding people accountable, he did pull Glaber when he didn't hustle. He made some bad errors, had a bad game a couple weeks ago. Then he didn't run out of ground ball, and he took him out. He doesn't take Grisham out of the game. He did talk about it afterwards, but he doesn't admonish the guys the way he should. And I don't know what he's doing behind closed doors, but I think there's a certain amount of giving players a pass, not holding them accountable. And then when you do that, you end up with situations like Marcus Stroman the other night, who, by the way, is not pitching lights out either. But he's getting on, he's calling out guys and showing them up on the field. You can't have players showing up other players. I don't care. I'm not a big Glaber Torres fan either, Marcus. But you can't call him out on the field. That's just not, that's a bad look. And Grisham, who doesn't offer anything except defense, plays a ball into a double. Billy Martin would have pulled that guy off the field right then and there. Get it together, Aaron. This is probably why I can't get Bob or Brett Boone to come out one-on-one with Keith Engle, because I bash Aaron so bad. Do you think there's any chance they're seeing this show? By the way, seeing the show. Guys, last Sunday's Stream of Consciousness set a record. 10,000 views on Facebook. I think I had 1,000 on Twitter. Not many on YouTube. Can't get YouTube. I don't know. Again, I've only got here we're moving through the 2000s in followers, and on YouTube we've got about 70. And Twitter, I don't work at it because I don't know it as well as I know how to get followers on Facebook and get views. But anyway, what I wanted to say is, look at 12,000 views for this show. My best one-on-ones have been 11,000. So thank you. If you guys are sharing the show, please continue to do so. And if you're not, please do. There's no harm. All you guys got to do is go to TGI Sports Talk, hit the share button under this show. You can share it live right now. I believe I've got it set up that you can do that. If you don't, I'll look at the settings. But I love the contribution you guys make to this show specifically and all my shows. You can always help me out more by inviting your friends, and I think I went through the steps to show you how to do that. And you can share the show. I mean, if there's content here you don't want on your page, that's fine. Sometimes we do drive into the ditch a little bit, but it's all good, healthy content debate, I think. Huge crowd at Clark's home game. They beat the Liberty, and she had the first triple-double in NBA history. I think I did mention that. She's also the leading vote getter on the All-Star team. Plus, they had 600 or 700% more votes. I'm pretty sure I saw a stat that she got like 700,000 votes, and the leading vote getter last year got 96,000. Please, this league, and I know they know. I think some of the nonsense is starting to abate with the WNBA and the treatment of Caitlin Clark. You can treat her like a rookie. You can give her a hard time, but don't say she's not important to this league when she comes through and they pack the house. And beating Liberty is nice, by the way. This Fever team is playing better basketball, but they're still not as good as teams like the Liberty and the Phoenix team. But she's important. When she packs a house, and then the next team that comes in there, they've got 2,000 people. It is a race thing. I get it. Again, she's the Great White Hope, right? And it's sad that that's the way it's got to be today. But facts are facts, and that is a fact. Yeah, load up. Yeah, party. What are we talking about, man? Let's see. Drew says no teams on hot streaks. I'm gonna count. Let's see, who did I have? The Orioles a little bit because they've extended their lead. The Astros have cut the. I have the Astros on my hot list, Drew, and I can't count the Rockies 3 in a row, right? As you said, I count the Astros because they've cut that lead, I believe, in the West to 2 games. Told the Mariners and the Rangers, you made a mistake not putting your foot on this team's throat when they were really off to an atrocious start. I've got the White Sox on my hot list, Drew, because they now are only on pace to lose 116 games. Twins, Cardinals, only 5 games back now. The Brewers, Padres a little bit, but again, this is all straight. They're not winning that division. Worst record for the last 10, Mariners and Yankees. The Yankees have been atrocious. Yankees have the worst record for the last 20, probably. So the White Sox, congratulations. Right now, you're not on a record-setting pace. Please get back on a record-setting pace. That's a big part of my Friday Major League Baseball update. Listen, I would love to. I'm a big fan of Ryan McMahon. Took him a while to reach the potential that the Rockies thought he'd have, and maybe he hasn't reached that potential, but he's a very productive Major League Baseball hitter. He's got flexibility, or versatility, I should say. He can play third base, he can play second base. I think he plays first base. Another DH option. I would love to see Ryan McMahon on this team playing second base and Glaber gone. Glaber's probably got no value at this point. So whether Glaber's gone or we just bring somebody in to replace him. And, yes, they're trying to entice Oakland and Mason Miller. It's going to take a haul to get Mason Miller. Everything I've read, every source I can find, they'll trade him, but they're going to want half your farm system for him. And I'm not trading that for a relief pitcher because closers are, again, look at Edwin Diaz. Look at a lot of guys through the years, except for Mo and a handful of other guys. But there's guys in the Hall of Fame like Lee Smith who shut up. Somehow I just turned back and Jack back on. I want to make sure the comments are coming through here. Sorry about that, guys. I think so far we're in good shape. Where was I? Relievers up and down. They get traded. And, hey, listen, I know he's a great talent, and his strikeout percentage is out of this world. But I'm not giving up the farm for him. Not giving up, 3 top prospects. They're probably going to want Dominguez. Not doing that. But so again, if I can get him for a reasonable price, I personally don't think he's getting traded to anybody. But great player, great fit too. No pitchers below 2.0 ERA as summer heats up, literally. And you're right, Jared. The hitters do catch up. Plus, all the rules are, put into place except for the last couple of years. I mean, I would argue the pitch clock favors the hitter. Doing away with the shift favors the hitter. What have they done to help pitchers in 60 years? Lowered the mound. What do they do to help pitchers? There's something escaping my mind. I don't remember what it was. But hitters still can't hit. What did we go? Last time we talked about it, Drew, the league average was what, 238? Oh, man. That was a banger. I didn't pay a lot of attention here. We got to get – here's the thing. The problem and the same way with the NBA. Free agency and the NHL and the NBA seem to fall through the cracks. They don't do as good a job with it as certainly in the National Football League. I mean, they're head and shoulders above everybody when it comes to marketing their draft, marketing free agency, marketing OTAs. I mean, stuff that doesn't mean a damn thing. But the NHL falls through the cracks, and these are big deals. Obviously, Toronto is looking to change things around. Big news too with Celebrini, who has decided to leave BU and go to the Sharks. It was not a sure thing that he was going to jump to the NHL from BU, but he signed a contract with the Sharks here yesterday. Why do I keep getting these beeps all the time? I have no idea what they are. I can't even tell which computer they're coming from. Where else? They brought in Craig Berube. All of the no-name free agents they signed are 6'4", 6'6" defensemen. Well, obviously they have a reputation for not being tough. They're looking to change that, Chris, and we have to get Jim Bering around here soon. We'll get him in here soon to kind of give us a wrap up on last year's, this past year's season, the draft, free agency. We'll have a lot of stuff to get him in here for and give him a full half hour or something to kind of talk about that. I'd rather have a WNBA basketball than a Bronny jersey. Listen, everybody's got to stop. What has Bronny done wrong? Again, another debate I had with Mac and Jack. He hasn't done anything wrong. I don't even blame him for entering the NBA draft. He's going to get a guaranteed contract that no second-round picks ever got. Why say no? I blame LeBron. LeBron wanted to be a good dad, and by all intents and purposes, he's not a bad dad. But this is all about LeBron. All about LeBron. All of it. He came out now because the Lakers, I'm sure, said, look, we'll take him in the second round. It's not a coincidence he didn't work out with but 2 teams. I mean, I'm sure he signed a 2-way contract with the Lakers, unlike he said he would sign no 2-way contract with any other NBA team. They wouldn't be able to send him off to the G League. I'll bet you anything, and I'm not saying he will get sent off to the G League at some point during the season. He should, if the Lakers and LeBron care about his development. If LeBron was a good dad, he would have said, look, son, stay in school another year. You just got over a major medical issue. You weren't 100% last year. You just were getting your basketball legs back, if you will. Stay in school another year. But no, he wants to play with Bronny. We got to stop blaming Bronny. You can say, he's 19 years old. I mean, how many kids weren't influenced by their dad's advice when they were 19 years old or 30? And again, I blame LeBron. We're getting on Bronny for no reason. None. There's nothing Bronny's ever done. You're welcome to prove me wrong. And Bronny could be, it won't be this year, I don't believe. Bronny could be a productive NBA player, or he could be a total bust. We don't know. And again, we blame him for the Lakers' hubris of drafting him in the second round, number 1, when he should have gone back to school, and then signing him to a guaranteed contract. And then LeBron, who said, I will play for the league minimum. The league minimum. He said he'd play for any team that drafted Bronny. Pretty sure that extension he just signed with the Lakers is a little bit above the league minimum. Pretty sure. The Angle with Keith Engle. Maybe I should change my name of one of my shows to that. I'll start another show. What the hell? My wife thinks I don't do enough shows now. I'm not sure what that's about. The Keith Engle. We had a guy, it's funny, years ago, quite a few years ago now, probably 2000 was the last time I did this. But I a men's fraternal organization in Amsterdam when I lived in Amsterdam, New York, not Holland, that I belonged to since I've been 18 years old. I was a president and ran the place for 12 years. And one of the guys who ran against me one year, his name was Les Payne. And he had this campaign slogan. Not that we had these elaborate campaigns, by the way. His campaign slogan was, I'll give you less pain. Hilarious. Drew, 9 home runs for Quan. Well, that's just pace for 18. I mean, historically, I don't think he's had those type of power numbers, has he? Let's check him out. Let's check him out here. I wanted to get into the vote getting. We'll get there if we get there. If we don't, when is the All-Star game? I don't even know. It can't be this week. The voting's still going on. It's got to be next week, right? Week after. Sorry. I thought I brought up Stephen Kwan. I want to look at his numbers. All right. Where's my baseball reference? Here we go. Historically, 2002, 6 home runs. So he's already almost equaled his output for his entire major league career. Good player. Really good player. Triples. Jared Duran, who's turned into a really nice player for the Red Sox. Bobby Witt. Volpe. Volpe's not playing good baseball right now. I'm telling you. Yeah. I love the kid. But I got to see more productive, and I got to see smarter baseball out of him. I mean, I get on Glaber a lot, and Volpe sometimes has these vapor locks, and you can't have a guy striking out the way he strikes out with a 300 on base percentage leading off, and that's why he's out of that spot. I like this stat, Drew. Triples are something that I think has gone away in baseball simply because of lack of hustle. Because guys turn triples into doubles and they settle for doubles. If Duran's on a pace for 20 triples, used to love watching Mickey Rivers, leg out a triple, even go first to third. We don't get that anymore as a rule. I mean, there are guys that do still hustle. I don't want to put the same blanket on everybody. Anyway, Jane Durant is a very, very good player and an exciting player to watch, and the Red Sox got something there. Bobby Witt Jr.'s really come into his own. Great race, and you can't lose either way with him and Gunnar Henderson for that starting shortstop position on the All-Star team. Danny's good. I'm guessing he missed Good Morning. Or is he? I'll just skip over Kenny for a second. I'll go back. Good morning, Danny Fuller. Good to have you with us. I've already bashed the Yankees this morning. I'll continue to do so for your benefit later. Kenny Gifford, as far as another James getting money for nothing. Well, first of all, he's not getting paid. He's not getting money for nothing. He's getting paid money for what he will do going forward. We don't know that it's nothing yet. I mean, you're getting paid for future performance normally, especially as a rookie. They're not paying you for your college stats mean nothing, whether they're good or bad. So anyway, besides that, less than 5 points a game in college. By the way, again, stop with the numbers. They mean nothing. He missed half the season with a very serious heart condition he had all last summer and fall. Did not participate until January, at a minimum, maybe February. Played half the season or less. Didn't play full minutes. Was not in full basketball shape and didn't know the system. He should have stayed in college. Why are you blaming Bronny for somebody else's hubris? His father's selfishness. The Lakers enabling LeBron's selfishness. It's not Bronny's fault. And who's going to turn down the money? And if they think he's worth it, then they pay him. My God. I mean, I don't just get paid on what I have done. I get paid for what I'm expected to do. And when I don't do it, I won't get paid anymore. And if Bronny doesn't fulfill any promise during this guaranteed portion of his contract, he won't get more money. He'll get less. Exactly what you just said. You paid him $7 million to get the other guy to play. His dad's, listen, I've semi-defended LeBron until the last couple of years. Early in LeBron's career, he got it. He was a guy who got it. And then somewhere along the line, he went off the rails. How disingenuous is it to say any team that drafts my son and gives me a chance to play with him, I'll play for the league minimum? He said those very words. I'm pretty sure he's signed for more than league minimum, which, by the way, makes Bronny's contract look like nothing. We need to stop bashing Bronny until he shows he can't. Even then, this is not his fault. Did you stand up to your dad and tell him to go F himself when you were 18, 19 years old? You might have. I don't know. I didn't. I had great respect for my dad and his opinion. Doesn't mean I did everything he told me to do. So again, whatever. I mean, people are looking, Kenny, everybody else entitled to their opinion. It's a valid opinion about Bronny getting money and why, but this is the Lakers' problem, and maybe you're not blaming Bronny. Again, I'm reading this. I read all the comments, with a certain slant or bias, if you will, my own personal bias. I mean, some comments are certainly blaming Bronny specifically. I don't blame Bronny at all. Bronny's got no reason to stay in school. Somebody's going to guarantee him $7 million because he could go back and show he can't play. We don't know if he can play. Who knows? Who actually knows if Bronny can play? You got a crystal ball? Because I'd like some lottery numbers. I like some election results so I know what to do with my money or where to move to. I know it should be out of this state, but that's not happening. Good morning. Again, I already did that. Good morning, Dave Guyette up in Amsterdam. Good to have you with us this morning. Robert Butler's here from the Sports Scopes, not the Sports Scopes. Robert does some great content. You can find him on Northeast Streaming Sports and National Streaming Sports, excuse me. I'll get it right. They have changed the name to National Streaming Sports, but not all the branding has changed on Roku, for instance. If you're looking for the Roku app, you need to look for Northeast Streaming Sports. But Robert does some great stuff. I was on with him just a couple Wednesdays ago. Where are we? Anyway, good morning, Robert. Robert, if you're still with me, give me some thoughts on I wanted to get on something here, NFL-wise, but I don't know. What's the big story? What's the biggest story for you? I got one for you, Robert. I had this debate a couple of weeks ago. We'll try to get some NFL stuff going. You guys can continue. We'll talk about whatever you want. About the Atlanta Falcons situation, that if they're 2-4 after 6 games, that Kirk Cousins will get benched and Michael Penix will play. And I pretty much said that's the nuttiest thing I ever heard. If that's the case, then every single Atlanta Falcon front office official should get fired. You paid this guy $140 million to win a championship today. By the way, then you gave him no help to win this year. None. You drafted, well, not none, early on when you had a chance to really help him, help that team. You drafted a quarterback who theoretically may not play for 4 years. At which time, by the way, I believe he'd be 28 or 9 years old because he's not a young guy coming into the draft. He's not playing. If that team's 2-4 or 1-5, they're not benching Kirk Cousins. The only way he plays is if Kirk Cousins gets hurt. That's it. Love to hear your lot of anybody's opinion on that. Actually, Robert specifically. Carlos was right to bring the kids on up with the Yankees. Well, again, he said that, though, when they weren't ready to play, though, too, by the way. He was talking about Peraza and Volpe 3 years ago when they weren't ready to play. Now, they're ready now, and Ben Rice has given them a nice boost. Volpe's been a productive player overall. He still has lots and lots to improve on. Lots. And I'm sorry, Volpe is one of the reasons this team isn't winning right now. So again, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't never want kids to come up, but when there's no place for them to play, at the time he was espousing this, there was no place for them to play. Right? You weren't benching DJ. They weren't benching Glaber. They weren't benching Rizzo. Now there's a place to play. I'd make an argument right now that if Rizzo came back, and I love Anthony Rizzo, if he came back, then Ben Rice should keep playing. I'd also be trying to get the Blue Jays to trade me Vlad Guerrero to play first base, by the way. That's not going to happen, not because I don't think the Blue Jays will trade him within the division, but we'll see. Good stuff, guys. What's Drew got? Hey, De La Cruz has some interesting stats. 250, a 433 on base percentage, which, again, I can live with that. I can live with the batting average if the other stats are there. And it does lead to stolen bases, 43. Terang slowed down quite a bit recently. Freaking guy kills my team. Also leads in Ks. I mean, those are some very interesting numbers. By the way, and look at he's a reason why. It's funny. He's probably one of the reasons the Reds have struggled, and he's also one of the reasons they're still alive for. They could make a run, and they're certainly within striking distance of a wild card. I mean, who's not in the NL except for the Rockies and the Pirates are even in. Who's out of it besides the Rockies? I mean, if I look at, hold on here a second. If I look at the standings, let me hold a wild card. If I look at the standings in the American League or the National League, excuse me, who's out of the race? Who's out of the wild card race? The Marlins and the Rockies. That's it. Everybody else is in. That's what Major League Baseball wants. That's why we have 10 wild cards, right? I know we don't have 10 wild cards, by the way. American League's a little bit different. You got 3 teams that are likely out of it, probably 4, because the Blue Jays, even with the talent, they're 9 games under 500 and 8.5 out of the wild card. I mean, I would argue that. Well, is it 8.5 or is it? 8.5 out of the last wild card. Red Sox have it right now, 48-40. I would argue the Rangers, the Tigers, the Blue Jays, the Angels, and the Athletics and the White Sox are out of it in the American League, and only the Rockies and the Marlins are out of it in the National League. We'll see, right? Lost my. Grabbed the wrong mouse. Robert, too friendly with the players. I think it's an Aaron Boone reference. I can see J.J. Redick doing that with the Lakers as well. J.J. Redick's like in an impossible spot, right? I mean, if they win a championship, which I don't think they are, by the way, it's going to be LeBron and blah, blah, blah. They're not winning unless Davis stays healthy and LeBron can continue to produce. And listen, for all the bashing we do with LeBron still goes out there and is still one of the top 10 players, probably one of the top 5 players in the league at 38, 39 years old. But J.J. Redick's in an impossible situation. If Bronny can't play and LeBron and Sissy play, what's going to happen then? Impossible situation. I think any team taking on this nonsense, you took on a distraction you didn't need to do, except to appease LeBron's whims. He wants to play with his son. I get it. It's a big deal. It could have waited a year. CA also renewed. I saw that. And guys, something to think about since we got a big crowd here. CA, if you want to send me the link, I'll get it posted early for the TGI Sports Talk Fantasy Football League. And please, if you're not going to participate, please don't get in. You know, I mean, I think we had one of those teams last year that just didn't do anything. We could probably go to 20. If you send me the link, send me the link because I'm going to forget. Or put the link right here in the chat right now, and then I'll share it to the. I can't copy. Yes, I can. I can still make it a hyperlink. Guys, go so just for fun and bragging rights, but also we'll need to make roster changes. We need to chat about that. We can do that. But anyway, I'll get it posted to the site, and we'll start pushing it sooner. Live draft date. Yeah, we'll come up with that. We'll come up with that stuff. Best ERA is now Seth Lugo, a guy we talked about earlier. I wasn't really excited about the Royals offseason, and the Royals are fading a little, by the way. The Royals right now are I know like 9 games out of first, but they're also, well, they're a game and a half out of the wild card. So they're not out of it by any means, but certainly not playing as good a baseball as they did early. Seth Lugo, though, still pitching very well and likely to be named to the All-Star team. Chris Sale, very shocking. With I think that's that's not his ERA, is it? Oh, that's WHIP. Okay, I see. 2 different things. Gotcha. Those are good. I think of these guys, I think Lugo gets named to the All-Star team. I would think Gilbert gets named. Probably all these guys have a very good chance of being named to their respective All-Star teams. Jose Barris is having an interesting year, 3.63, but he's third in hit by pitches and leads in HR is given up. Listen, HR home runs given up is not, I think we talked about this last week. Home runs given up is not necessarily the worst stat in the league. Catfish Hunter, perennial, never mind, year after year. Year after year was among the home run leaders in the American League, but they were all like solo home runs, not all. Most of them were solo home runs because he didn't walk guys. So that alone is not a bad stat, but he's playing on a terrible team. And that's interesting. This might be the best he's pitched since he's been with Toronto, and the team is just terrible. What do you think? Did I miss something Drew put up there or what? What are you thanking him for? I don't know. Did I miss something Drew put up or what? Where's Kenny's stat? Hold on. Drew, thanks. Love it. The Yankees are the worst. I'm not sure. Did you put a stat up about the Yankees that I missed? You're not wrong, and they're not the worst, by the way. Still lead the wild card race, but could easily still not make the playoffs, by the way. I mean, it's not a given. They played the way they played the last 3 weeks. They're not making anything. And my problem is not so much the regular season anyway. It's the postseason. All the things that Danny Fuller and others, I don't mean to call you out specifically, Danny. See, and again, I don't look at my team with rose-colored glasses as other people do. Am I positive? Was I happy when they had the best record in baseball? Yes. Do I want to be wrong about some of the things I say? Yes. But basically, everything I warned you guys about has cropped up its ugly head in other things as well. The lack of being able to generate runs without home runs. They scored 14 runs yesterday. At least 7 of them were on Ben Rice home runs. Judge and Soto are having great seasons with the bat. I'll debate anybody, and I did a little of that last week with Jack too, that Soto doesn't offer much else than his bat, which is fine. That's what they signed him for, or traded for him for. That's what a team's going to sign him for, is his bat. Hell, Ohtani can get $70 million for just his bat, but he's theoretically going to pitch again too. By the way, Ohtani set a record yesterday. Very weird. He was 2 for 2, had a triple, a home run, a stolen base. I missed something here. Home run, had 2 stolen bases. Find a freaking thing, Keith. Hang on one second. Let me pull this up. I want to get it right. It's only been done. This is only the 3rd time in history that this has been done. He's been a bit of a slump, by the way. So he went 2 for 2 with 2 RBIs. And it seems pedestrian until you see he had a home run, a triple, 2 walks. That's what I missed. Was hit by a pitch and also registered a stolen base. Only the 3rd time in history that's happened. Very obscure stat, Chris. You should love this one. You should have found this for me. 1985, The Breakfast Club. Don't date yourself there, CA. By the way, CA makes me think of, I mentioned last night we went to the Culinary Institute here in Hyde Park, New York. About an hour, 45-minute ride for us ish. But we met some friends of my wife from the city, and it was awesome. I have to tell you, and any of you guys, I know a lot of you guys aren't local, but anybody who is and hasn't been, go. It's not cheap, I can tell you that, but the food is extraordinary. The service is extraordinary because these are all kids that are learning to cook. They're learning to be get hotel services, whatever they call they're learning a lot of different things in the hospitality trades, right? And service was tremendous. We had a really nice, and it's a beautiful, beautiful campus, absolutely gorgeous, right on the Hudson. We had a lot of fun, and again, if you want to take a ride, it's really, really a nice time. We had a great time. So I need to fast for about 6 days right now because I've had so much rich food and food out, which is cooked with more salt than I normally would use. I'm not a salt person. My wife cooks with a little bit of salt, but I don't eat salt. I don't put salt on anything. I put other seasonings and things, but never do I salt, steak. Or I watch people just they don't even taste their food and they just load it up with salt. I don't understand it. And I've never done that. My dad, that goes back to my dad when I was a kid. Pepper, different story. But I ate eating out so much this week. It's like it's almost like being on a cruise. I that's how I feel right now. Like after about 5th or 6th day of a cruise, where I just feel so bloated. Too much rich food, too much food. I mean, I had like 6 old fashions Friday for a happy hour. Oh my gosh! I normally go out and have 2. Call it 5 years from now, Glaber Torres. I get, all right, get him now. Well, he'll be out of baseball in 5 years. So, yeah, if that's going to be our criteria that we're never going to get an active player, Glaber can do. I haven't been very nice to Glaber, though. I'm not sure how that's going to go. I feel bad for Glaber. I really do. The Yankees, Glaber was making a name for himself. When during the COVID season, they moved him to shortstop. He has not got his confidence back. And I said, I don't think he's going to get his confidence back playing in New York. It's nearly impossible. And they should have traded him after last year when he had a decent. Everybody said, oh, what a great year Glaber had. Was that a great year? It's not easy to play here. Good point, Drew. Todd Helton. What are Todd Helton's splits? Who's going to the Hall of Fame this year? I just don't get it. By the way, speaking of Hall of Fame, and maybe a guy who's been unjustly kept out of the Hall of Fame, I'm on the 19th. So let me start with this one. The 19th 101 with Keith Engle will have Veda Pinson the third on. His dad, Veda Pinson, was a great player, especially the first half of his career where he played with the Reds, played with Frank Robinson, played on World Series teams, was, among the batting leaders every single year, had some pop, speed, great defensive player. The overall numbers are not too bad compared to some other guys. I mean, again, when you look at them in the rearview mirror compared to what we look at today, they're not good. But if we're putting Harold Baines into the Hall of Fame, Veda Pinson needs to be in the Hall of Fame. If you don't know about Veda Pinson, look him up. Best years of his career were with the Reds, but he played with the Indians. He played with the Royals. He played with the Angels. Was a coach later on. Just a forgotten ball player. And we'll have Veda Pinson, his son, Veda Pinson III, on to talk about his dad's career, the Hall of Fame, and get his thoughts on his dad's Hall of Fame candidacy and some of the players he played with. Played with some great, great players. and was a very good player through the 60s and a little bit into the 70s. And then we have Brett Saberhagen, great pitcher, Cy Young Award winner with the Royals on the 12th. And then we got to get some bookings in here. I do have potential to have Jeff Fry in the in the hopper. We're having some discussions with. I've got Ernie D. Gregorio, a former Providence College star, Buffalo Braves star, till he banged up his knee. And somebody else, I can't remember who I've had some conversations with, but I got to get some things going here. Hello, it's all things football from a lady's perspective. Sonia Pearson on her way to becoming a lawyer. Congratulations. You want to get me back on the show once Sonia returns from vacation. Pay, is this not Sonia? Who is the pay? I need to know then if this isn't Sonia. And congratulations, Sonia, on your continuing advancement towards law school and becoming a lawyer. If this isn't Sonia, who is the page admin? I don't know who I'm talking to. I always like to know who I'm talking to. Lugo leads. Innings pitch, that's amazing. No complete games. What has there been, like 2 or 3 complete games the entire season, Drew? I seem to remember seeing this during the last couple of weeks. It's never coming back. Oh, Jeff Fry was another guy I've been having. If I didn't say that, Jeff Fry's another guy. He played. By the way, there's a guy who's really unhappy with the way Major League Baseball is played, both from the players' approach, some of the rules of the game, the way they're taught to. Oh my God, he put some videos up. There's no guy I've seen that is more. I think there's Jeff Fry, Kevin Kernan, former New York Post baseball writer, and myself are the most outspoken people about the ridiculous way the game is played today and the way players are trained today that I can think of. Anthony Price, good morning. Ronnie's going to average a triple single this season. It'd be very hard not to. I guess he could, average below 1 point, 1 rebound, 1 assist. Listen, my only point, and that's possible. And listen, I'm not here advocating that Bronny James is going to be a Hall of Fame NBAer. I'm advocating that Bronny James has done nothing to earn some of the negative comments that are directed towards him. This isn't of his doing. This is his dad. And I don't know. He could be a fine NBA player. Could be a great player. I don't know. He could be a bust. I don't know. I'm not basing anything about Bronny James. This has been my whole argument now for over a year. Maybe it's as the comments get put in here, I'm hearing a ding. Maybe it's something new from StreamYard. I'm not basing my judgment of Bronny's career on what he did at USC last year. It's impossible to say that is as good as LeBron is. Maybe it is, but we don't know that for a fact, given everything he had to deal with last year. I still don't know who this admin is. Is this you, Sonia? Yes, Jim Behringer is awesome. He does. I learned something new from Jim all the time as well. Always. I'm not again, I'm an NHL fan, and I can talk the game, but I'm not the way Jim does. I don't know all the players the way Jim does. I'm a Ranger fan, and I'm a NHL fan from that standpoint. a big fan of the original six. I like to see those teams do well and be in the playoffs. And, you know, it's probably the place I'm the biggest fair weather fan is in hockey, quite frankly. Drew speaking up about Bronny, first time. The fascination with Bronny is due to nepotism. Agreed. I think I've made that pretty clear. He'll be overpaid as his skills are not. We don't know. Well, close to his dad. Sorry, I should have read the whole comment. At least at this point, he could be better than his dad. Unlikely. We have no. That's again. You're dead on here, Drew. But Bronny gets blamed in a lot of corners. There's a lot of, again, negativity sent towards Bronny for zero reason. Bronny did nothing wrong here except not stand up to his dad and say, you know what, Dad, maybe I'm not ready. Who's going to do that? When his dad is pushing his team to draft him, Bronny, you're come and play with me. I got 2 years left. Oh, by the way, I'm going to forget about. Let's not tell anybody or remind anybody that I said I'd play for the league minimum. Bronny could be good or could be awful. There's no way to know. And please, you know, let's wait till he plays in the NBA to determine how he can play. And he probably shouldn't play right away. He should be at the end of the bench or in the G League. Because he's probably not ready to play. And we may never know how good Bronny could have been because his dad, due to the nepotism that Drew speaks about, has rushed him to a situation that's going to be very difficult for him. I've talked about how difficult this situation is going to be for J.J. Redick. It's going to be difficult for Bronny. The spotlight is on him like it would have been any. Look at the spotlight would have been on him anyway. But now he's playing in L.A., with his dad, with great expectations and a guaranteed contract after half a season in college. I don't even know how healthy Bronny is. I can imagine the pressure on Bronny. This kind of was alluding to here a second ago. Bronny, poor Bronny. Again, I don't say poor Bronny. I feel bad for the kid. The pressure is going to be immense. But yes, I'm getting $7 million guaranteed. So most of you guys who didn't make $7 million in your entire life are going to say, oh, I don't feel sorry for him. It's a little bit myopic. I'm sorry. I mean, our world is not the same as theirs. There's pressure even when you're making a bunch of money. And again, if he doesn't make it, it could very well be because he was not ready and he got pushed too soon. Look at guys, Danny Fuller. And by the way, I sent Todd Marinovich a private message the other day. I didn't get a response, but I'll keep working him a little bit. Todd Marinovich is a great example of a player who may or may not have been a much better player in the NFL than he was. But the pressure for him that came, and again, maybe he'd disagree because I think his relationship with his dad was better before his dad passed away. Danny might be able to speak to this as he has some relationship with Todd. But there's a lot of, except for his dad wasn't playing in the NFL. You know, he put a lot of pressure on his son as a young man, and there was a lot of pressure on him at USC, and he didn't perform as well as people would have expected there. And then he was with the Raiders, and they expected more out of him than he could ever produce. Again, except for the dad being the best player, one of the best players in his sport. There's some similarities, and I hate to see him go down the road that Todd did. And I'd love to have Todd on because Todd is one of those stories that I think is cautionary and also uplifting in a way as well. So I believe the pressure will be immense on him. John Gonzalez, I believe, talked about the All-Star game July 16th. So that week, big week, the All-Star game, if you care about the All-Star game. I kind of do. And by the way, I'll just give you quickly, since we're on this, I'll give you the leaders real quick. Because remember, we're down to this voting. So this was as of, I don't have anything after July 3rd, I guess. Guerrero in the American League at first base, Guerrero's leading over Mountcastle. They're the two finalists by about 10 points, a little more than 10 points. Altuve's leading Marcus Semien by 12. Gunnar Henderson is leading. His beat's just blowing Bobby Witt away. That race should be closer. Gunnar Henderson's a great player. Should be. I have no problem with him being the All-Star shortstop, but Witt's also a great player, and he's trailing him by like 2-1. Ramirez, one of the underrated players in the game in my mind. Great leader. I'm sure the Indians are happy to have him. I know the Yankees have tried to pry him away several different times, but he's leading over Jordan Westberg of the Orioles by 17. The outfield, and I guess this is a group vote. So these guys, it's not left field, right field, center field. It's now outfield. The 4 top vote getters are Soto, 29, Kwan 28, Santander from the Orioles 26. Now the guy's not hitting a big average. I think he's hitting around 230, but good power numbers. And Kyle Tucker, another underrated player, at 16%. Kyle Tucker, in my mind, probably should be above Santander here in this voting. Rauschman leads easily over Salvador Perez. Designated hitter Alvarez, close race with O'Hearn. National League, Marte 55-45 over that's Ketel Marte with the Diamondbacks, leading by Arias. How do I say that this time? Probably wrong again, right, Drew? You don't need to correct me. I'm never going to get it. By 10 percentage points. Trey Turner leading Mookie Betts by 6. Betts is hurt, I think, right now, right? But yeah, he's hurt. He's got a fractured left hand. But Betts ought to be winning this. I know that I think Betts should be winning this. Alex Baum, who's really come into his own the last couple of years, especially this year, killing Manny Machado. The outfield, Yelich. Interesting. Christian Yelich leads 21. Jurickson Profar, we talked about before, 20. Tatis 16. Brandon Marsh 15. Teoscar Hernandez 14. And Nick Castellanos for the Phillies 14%. The catchers, Contreras leads Real Mutu by 20%. Designated hitter Ohtani obviously is leading over Schwarber. Any guys you think are seriously missing here? Any guys you wouldn't have in there? I don't have a real problem with what I'm looking at there. I mean, I guess I could make an argument for a couple of different guys, but All-Star game is Tuesday, July 16th. Thanks, Dave. And do we care? I'm so tired. Can we just go back to wearing your uniform? Okay. So I know what team you're from, and I got an idea who you are. And stop miking up players. Stop gimmicking up the game. And by the way, and then play to win. Baseball probably plays to win a little more than other sports. I want to go back to when people cared about winning. I want to go back to when Pete Rose ran over Ray Fosse. Some people may think that was uncalled for. Right? Pete Rose wanted to win every time he hit the field. Now, maybe bet on the game. I don't know, but that's a different story. But you need to just do it. All-Star game is the 16th. I don't care about the voting or anything else about it. There you go. I don't either. A public service announcement more than anything. If they go back to playing it and I could enjoy it again, and again, there's a lot of reasons the All-Star. It's not just, and maybe they've tried to gimmick it up because it's not the big deal it was when I was a kid. When I was a kid, we didn't see all those players play. The only time I saw all those star players play especially in the National League, was in the All-Star game. Upstate New York, by the way, we had 3 channels in the 60s, 70s, into the 80s. And we got, early on, we got like 10 Yankee games that Channel 10 up here would broadcast, say on a Sunday afternoon. And we got Saturday, the game of the week. And then as I got a little older, in mid-teens, I guess, 76 or so, ABC started the Monday Night Baseball. But again, you were seeing the same teams all the time on those telecasts. So a lot of the great players in the game I never saw except for the All-Star game, and it was a big, big deal to me. And it was through the 80s, through the 90s. When it really went off the rails was when they wanted to make it count for me. And then viewership went down, and they gimmick it up with mic players, and nobody cares. They ruined every All-Star game. I'll say this much. The players didn't really ruin the Major League Baseball All-Star game. The players ruined the NBA All-Star game, which was also a good game back when I was a kid. They ruined the Pro Bowl, which still was a decent game when I was a kid. It was the players. Quan is a decent ball player, but his numbers will drop in the second half. Quite possible. I don't think he's going to hit 260, but I think this guy's a good, very good player. Not a decent ball player. He's a good player, John. Again, sometimes you got to look beyond the stats. He's a really good defensive player. I have this discussion with Drew, that guys like Harrison Bader. Harrison Bader is a better baseball player than his numbers will tell you. And again, I think this is and I've played. Listen, I've been guilty because I'm guilty of being part of this because I've been playing fantasy baseball since 1987. And the problem with fantasy baseball is it changes the way people watch baseball and who they think are good players. Because it's all about numbers, right? And baseball isn't just about numbers. There are intangibles that do not come up, right, in any fantasy league you might play in. And Harrison Bader, for instance, is more value to his team than any numbers can tell you. I would say Stephen Kwan, even though he's got great numbers this year, has been a very, very good Major League Baseball player. And things don't show up in the box score all the time. That's the great thing about baseball. Ray. America's been steamrolled and rebuilt. Baseball's been the one true constant. I'm turning into James Earl Jones now in Field of Dreams. Michael got with us from across the pond. Good to have you with us. Still trying to recruit Michael as a Yankee fan. It's not working. You play better, Yankees. Maybe Michael will join us. Are we any closer to a team, Michael? Glad to see you with us. Anthony, LeBron got a player option. He might stay in LA if his other son goes to the Lakers. He signed a 2-year option. By the way, my problem, Anthony, with him is he's a hypocrite of the greatest, or maybe he's not even a hypocrite. Maybe he's a liar. He said, I'm paraphrasing a little bit probably, that any team that signed Bronny, that he would be willing to sign a NBA minimum contract to play with that team. I don't believe he's playing for the minimum contract this year. Good morning, Flo. Good to have you with us. I mentioned the Bottom Line Sports at the top of the show. Flo does some great stuff. Flo and the guys do some great stuff. Flo, you can mention your guys' names and when you guys are on. I appreciate you doing that and allowing me to share my show to your show. And again, if you hit share to, I don't know how it works. I know I can share yours. If I think to go there, I shared a couple of your shows. Really good stuff these guys do. Want to mention the rest of your guys and when your shows are on, Flo, you can do that. And when you're sharing your show to wherever, if you can get to TGI Sports Talk and share it, I'll be happy to put the show up. Even my personal page, either one, I'll be happy to share the show. And Flow stuff I know is on Let's Talk Sports, and if you're on other platforms, feel free to post them here, Flow. Appreciate your support. You guys do some good stuff. I pop in from time to time and we'll watch. It's very hard, as you probably know, Flo, from doing shows and doing as many shows as I do and trying to get ready for the next shows, especially with the interview shows. It's hard to go and watch as many of the my compatriots as I'd like to. So I watch in bits and pieces as I'm kind of scrolling through things at night. Once in a while I'll comment but I do check it out from time to time. And it's great stuff. So Flo, if you got more information you want to share, please do. If James continues, we might see another Boston Celtic deal, which everyone will start to blame his father for pushing him. What are we talking about? Which then everyone will start to blame his father for pushing him. What are we talking about? I'm already blaming him. I mean, I'm not going to start. I've already blamed LeBron for pushing Bronny. Bronny should be in college for another year at least. Again, he had a major health issue just a year ago. He sat out the entire first half of the season. Pushing him now is all about LeBron. All about LeBron. And the Lakers kowtow to it because they want LeBron to stay. I'm not sure about the Celtics reference, Kenny, so help me out there, would you, buddy? There was a report the Giants didn't want to sign Barkley back because they didn't want a $40 million. Well, that's actually, it isn't a report. It's actually real, Anthony, but that's a great call by you. I started watching, the first episode was on. I don't know if you guys watch Hard Knocks. I still watch it because I do, again, reality TV ends when the cameras get turned on, right? It's no longer reality. But this is behind the scenes of the Giants offseason. And they showed on camera a conversation that Joe Shine and Daboll and some other guys were having in his office about the fact that we're not going to sign Barkley, basically. First of all, they were trying to get Barkley back. There was a lot of conversation about would anybody offer him X amount. They did not want to sign him to, a max deal or whatever you want to say. They didn't want to franchise him and pay that kind of money either. So they gave him the opportunity to go test the waters. And the comment was made, we don't want the centerpiece of our offense to be handed a ball by a $40 million quarterback. Let's go get other weapons for him to throw the ball to. Now, whether they've done that well enough is certainly debatable. And whether that $40 million quarterback, who I like, by the way, but he needs to stay healthy. He doesn't stay healthy. Daniel Jones is a serviceable NFL quarterback when he's healthy. Is he a $40 million quarterback? Probably not. This is a decision the Giants are going to have to make. I believe they have a way out of this, the rest of this deal, 2 more years. They didn't sign him for a long time, 4 years. I think they have a way out of this after this season. This is a big year for Daniel Jones and the Giants. And you're absolutely right. They did not want necessarily a feature back, but you still need to run the ball in the NFL. Whether the NFL devalues running backs or not, you still need running backs to be successful in this league. And what they've got so far, Devin Singletary is a decent player. I think it's Devin, right? And they have a history with him from the Bills, Shine and Daboll. By the way, what happened to Daboll? Daboll and his wife went on this. Maybe they're taking that oxymoron pill, whatever the hell it oxymoron. It's not that. I got to start doing what these guys are doing. I don't want to work out. I want to take a pill and lose weight. Anyway, they look great. They've lost a ton of weight, both of them, him and his wife. So anyway, you're dead on, Anthony. That is exactly the case with the Giants. And if you haven't watched, I don't know what you guys think about Hard Knocks. I like Hard Knocks for the most part. The Jets last year, I really felt I was watching Aaron Rodgers act his way through those 5 episodes. But so we got 3 more weeks of this Giants offseason, and then the Bears are the subject of the training camp Hard Knocks. And in-season Hard Knocks will be, which I liked a lot last year. It was the Dolphins. This year, they're going to cover the entire AFC Central, which is going to be interesting. So your team will get some coverage there, Anthony. Oh, sorry, Flo. What do you got here? Cousins has always put up good numbers. If they go 2-4 or worse, it will be the defense that lets them down. Listen, I have and again, the Falcons are in this to win this, right, Flo? And whomever else, they're in this to win this. That's a very funny trick. I see Brian Hoyer and I laugh because Jack always brings him up. So I'm looking ahead at the comments. I shouldn't do that. Cousins will put up good numbers. He doesn't win in the playoffs. I mean, he hasn't won big since he's been in the league in the playoffs. He's won big. He puts up numbers. He's a very good NFL quarterback. Is he going to get you over the top? The Falcons think so. They're all in, and then they draft his replacement theoretically for 4 years from now. But some of the people on the Big Football Show on National Streaming Sports seem to think if they start 2-4, he's going to get benched. He's not getting benched. And if he gets benched, and this is what I said earlier too, Flo, if he gets benched, they should fire everybody in the front office. Because why are you giving him a $140 million guaranteed contract and then drafting a quarterback with the, 7th pick? 8th pick? I don't even remember. And giving him nothing to help him this year. Not the defense, which needs help. They should all get fired. They're all in now. And you draft Michael Penix Jr. Kenny will be back. He's got to go water in the garden before it gets too hot. What's in that garden? Watermelons? I like those spring melons. What do you got out there, Kenny? Or is it that other garden? There, I got to see what this is about. Brian Hoyer says Aidan O'Connell had a tremendous year. This explains so much on so many levels. I was on the National Streaming Sports Show Wednesday night, for 45 minutes, as I am between 6 and 7 usually before I do the college football huddle, but that'll be on hiatus for July, as I mentioned. But Captain Jack was on there, the super Raider fan, saying Aidan O'Connell is going to be a great player. Maybe he will. I don't know. I mean, he was okay last year. I mean, Brian Hoyer played behind the greatest quarterback of all time several times during his career. They kept bringing him back. Jack Hirsch likes to point out Brian Hoyer's key to Patriots' success. Best clipboard carrier ever, though. A tremendous year. I mean, he threw 12 touchdowns, and he played decent football at the end of the year last year. But I'm not ready to crown him the savior for the Raiders. Listen, Raiders have some talent. They have some talent. Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, who was a huge loss for the Patriots 2 years ago, when they basically said they wanted Juju Schuster instead of Jacoby Myers for about $1 million difference in pay. And I said this morning on the Mac and Jack Sunday Football Show that one of the reasons for Mac Jones' regression 2 years ago, the beginning of it anyway, was Jacoby Myers going away. Jacoby Myers is a guy who moves the chains. Didn't score. The knock on him in New England was he didn't score touchdowns. He scored 2 touchdowns in 3 years. Since he got to the Raiders, he scored, I don't know, I think 8 each of the last 2 years, maybe. I had his numbers up earlier. There he is right there. I still got him up. Let's see. I think he scored 8 each of the last 2 years, if I'm right. 6 and 8. Oh, I'm sorry. He's only been with the Raiders 1 year. Maybe my argument's not good then, because he was there when the decline started for Mac Jones. Anyway, whatever. That's a different conversation. That is interesting, though. 80 and O'Connell. Aiden, there's no N in there, does need to show a little bit more than what he did in a few games last year. What'd he do? Now you got me wondering, Drew. Hold on. Raiders. He played 11 games. He started 10. He was 5-5. Completed 62% of his passes, which is not lights out anymore in the NFL. At one time, it was really good. 12 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He averaged 6 yards per pass play, 6.5. That's not great. His quarterback rating was 83. At a time, there was a time 83 was really good. Not today. Tyreek Hill looking forward to his next contract, given what other receivers are getting. Well, he set the market. There's always somebody who sets the market, right? And now it's quarterbacks and wide receivers are valued more than running backs. That's why running backs aren't getting paid the same way. Watson set the market for quarterbacks, and now it's been reset again by Trevor Lawrence. If the Cowboys want, and I know guys hate him, some guys, especially on this show, Dak Prescott's getting $60 million somewhere. If not with the Cowboys, and somewhere else. And the wide receiver market now has exploded. It's a great point. Of course, so did his house and his marriage. And Tyreek Hill is an interesting individual. Great player. Jags owner Khan, not the same Khan from Wrath of Khan, I don't think. Maybe it's the same guy. I don't know, but I don't think it is. Wants to build through the draft. We cannot have this addiction to free agents. There's a novel concept. Teams used to build through the draft all the time. Free agency's happened in baseball. You know, you don't know the players on your team from year to year. It's not good for the sport. It's not good for the and I guess the ratings and the monies that are out there available, tell me I'm wrong. But I'm old. I'm on my front porch yelling people to get off my lawn. I don't think he's wrong. Oh, God. Fancy update. Rick, Keith, and I are all losing our matchups this week. Rick and Meyer close. I can't get close, man. I did trim it. Yes, 3 points. I got no shot. I have so many. I have an all-star team on my injured list. I still got shot at 4th. I haven't given up. It's been hard. It's just hard. There's so many. I get so many things going on. It's just, and I'm not. That's excuses. I'm not going to make excuses. I just suck. I can't make a move that works right. I take a flyer on somebody, they stink. I take the best guy available, and he turns into a shit show. Drafted guys like Evan Carter, and they have horrible years. Just been, it's just been one of those years where everything I did went wrong. I should have streamed more pictures. I always get yelled at for streaming pictures. When I streamed pictures, I did well. Lost in the championship game. Last year, the game went, if the season was maybe 1 day longer, I might have made the playoffs. after being buried like I am now. They only got 20 some games, 25 games to make up to get to the 25 points to get to the playoffs, but it's going to be freaking nearly impossible. Now, if everybody got healthy, right? I mean, look at freaking guys on my disabled list. Let me just give you, and I've gotten very little out of some of these guys. And again, this has hurt me in 2 leagues. Fortunately, the league that I pay a decent amount of money to play in, I'm in serious contention there. But I have some of the same players, but not the same guys who got hurt. I got an all-star team. Harper, well, who has played quite a bit. Harris, Muncy, Trout, and McLean, all on the disabled list for hitters. And Michael King, no, not Michael King. I dumped all my LA guys except for Mel Kelly and my pitchers. And the guys out there all stink. Everybody can pick up stinks. I hate fantasy baseball. I should have stayed retired. Tiger Woods and Justin Timberlake opened second massive sports bar together. I didn't know they had one. Where is it? I might have to get there. Is it anywhere near Half Moon, New York? Or are we going long today? Probably. Kenny, quick shout out to the Kroger Lake Arts Collectives. They had an orchestra of talent from around the world and an opera singer that was absolutely incredible. If you like music, check it out. Where'd they do this? At Sherman's? Where was the event held, Kenny? Used to love Kroger Lake when I was a kid. Sherman's Park, when they had the rides, and you can go to the beach up there. Kroger Lake kind of fell apart through the years, and maybe it's coming back. Maybe this is a good thing. There's a bunch of lakes up there. Kroger Lake, Candle Lake, Green Lake, Pine Lake, Peck's Lake. I mean, there must be 11 lakes up through that area that are really pretty cool. John Gonzalez, member of the get out. Oh man, Tony Hunter passed away. That's sad. I talked to Tony about coming on for an interview about a year ago, and I think he was going to have some surgery then. I don't remember what his deal was. Tony Hunter was a really good tight end at Notre Dame. So our condolences to the Notre Dame family, Tony Hunter's family and friends. Really good tight end. I'm trying to think where he played in the NFL. John, you might be able to fill me in without me looking it up. That's very sad. I had quite a few conversations with Tony. Probably it might have been 2 years ago now. But he was going to be having some surgeries then, and didn't want to come on, while he was going through that stuff, and I never circled back, and I regret that. I would like to have had Tony on before this. He couldn't have been that old either. I mean, I'm guessing he's my age. Steve Orpello, Perth, New York. Good morning, Stephen. Good to have you with us. A controversial question. We don't do those here, Michael. Seems like that's all we do. We either deal with the most controversial topics or the most inane. There's no in between here. What's your view on NFL teams at the top of their division and make the playoffs, with teams in other divisions that have winning records but miss the playoffs or wild card? First of all, well, I'll start this way. I don't have a problem with that. We have divisions for a reason. So I'm okay that the division winners make the playoffs. Always. I don't care if they're, 8 and 9. I really don't. I like division play. There's too many wild cards to begin with. I mean, one of the reasons we have more wild cards is because teams were missing the playoffs. I mean, look at the Patriots lost. The only year they didn't make the playoffs from 2001 to, I guess it was 2 years. From 2001 to 2020 or 2019, whatever it was, 20 years. They did make the playoffs twice. Once I think they were 9-7 after their first Super Bowl win. They lost the division to the Jets on the last day of the season, and they didn't make the wild card. And they finished 11-5 in 2008 when Tom Brady missed the entire season, except for a couple of series in Game 1 against the Chiefs. And Matt Castle led them to an 11-5 record, and they missed the playoffs. So, again, I guess my take is a little controversial because I know a lot of teams don't like to see these teams that are 500. But if they don't want teams that are 500, then why does the NFL want, parity? You got a bunch of 8-9 teams, 9-8 teams that are still alive for wild card bursts because there's too many playoff teams now. So I'll be controversial, and I'll tell you I'd still like, and it'll never happen. I'd still like to, because once you go there, you don't put it back. The genie doesn't go back in the bottle, right? I want to cut the number of wild cards and keep the divisions. Division play needs to mean something. The same way in baseball. I mean, there are teams that theoretically could win their division and do win their division and have better records than the wild card teams, and they host them. Or teams that don't make the playoffs. That, again, rarely today because we have so many wild cards. There's too many playoff teams in every sport. And it is what it is. Now, so I think I got the gist here. Again, it happens rarely that teams have losing records. The Seahawks did it one year, I know, before they won the Super Bowl. I don't think we had anybody do it last year, did we? I want to say no. Oops. Am I in the NFL? I am. Yeah, there was nobody. Tampa Bay was there at 9-8. They were the closest to a losing record. I know Seattle did it one year. Let me see how many teams won divisions with losing records. Let's find out. Let's find out how often it happened. How many NFL teams won divisions with losing? Is it nice to hear me talk while I type? 3 NFL teams. So it's happened 3 times, in history. Carolina Panthers, I remember now. In 2014, 71. Who's number 2 here? Number 2, the 2010 Seattle Seahawks, who I alluded to a little bit ago, 7-9. And who's the other one? Because those are the only 2 I would really think of. And 2020, the Washington Commanders, 7-9. By the way, that 7-9 team almost beat or gave the Buccaneers, who eventually won the Super Bowl, a run for their money. So, yeah, I don't really have a problem with it. I like division football. I don't want to see one big AFC, one big NFC, and the best records get there. They did that one year, 1982, when they had a players' strike, and they put extra teams in the playoffs, and there were no divisions. I don't like it. 17 complete games so far this year. Wow. I'm shocked. 8 teams don't have one. 3 for the Phillies. Braves, Astros, Jays each have 2. 8 others with 1. 18 teams don't have complete games. I really can't wait to talk to Brett Saberhagen about this. And I don't know that I've had catchers on talking about this, Mike Keith a while back, Jim Sundberg more recently. And I haven't had a pitcher on in a while to talk about this. And Brett Saberhagen's going to be a great guy because I guarantee you Brett Saberhagen completed a bunch of games in his career. Let me take a quick look. I'm going to have more frickin' windows open here. Hold on, I'm going to use the same one. I want to look at Brett Saberhagen's total complete games. The game was starting to change a little, as he played from 84 to 99. I mean, he had 10 complete games one year, 15 complete games another year, 12 complete games another year, and then he probably completed 12 the next 2 years, and then 12 the rest of his career. But he completed 76 games in his career. I mean, guys now aren't going to have 12 complete games for the whole career. Horrible. Yasiel P., where has he been? Yeah, in Mexico. Again, I think Drew said I could play in the Mexican League. I'm starting to think I could. He's 34 years old. Was he like 19 when he came up? He was a really young guy when he came up, right? I can't believe it was 19 years ago. Is that true? My math's got to be off somewhere. Didn't he come up as a kid? Bronny signed 4 years, $7.9 million. That's correct. All guaranteed. God bless him. He should be saying college. But LeBron's this is all about LeBron. He's definitely not ready. Here, this is Danny, our Laker correspondent. Definitely not ready. The Disneyland fakers need to see. Now I've got Danny on my wavelength when it comes to bashing my team. Thanks to LBJ. Really, Lyndon Baines Johnson caused this issue? Thanks, LBJ. But it's not. Here's my point. He's probably not ready. I don't disagree. Now, there's two schools of thought here. You could take him before he's ready because you're afraid when he is ready, you can't get him. He needs some more seasoning. I agree. But this isn't Bronny's fault. This is what I've done for pretty much this entire show now, Danny, is defend Bronny. He's not at fault here. This is all LeBron. All LeBron. Where's that minimum contract he said he would sign? Where's that? He didn't have a good game. I'm not gonna. It's not that I believe. If I'm not wrong, Anthony, and I apologize because you often have been right. When I've said I think you're wrong. You're one of those guys, and I always admit when I'm wrong because I've had to go back and give Anthony credit when I've disagreed or disputed something he may have brought up. So kudos to you. You're right more than you're wrong. I don't think it's the G League that he's playing in right now. I think it's just the summer league. The G League plays pretty much concurrently with the NBA season, I think. You feel free to point out that I'm wrong again. I don't know how many minutes he played, but it's around that, I think. He scored 4 points. He shot 2 for 9. Dude, that's not... Again, I think we need to... Again, as a Laker fan, you can be upset. Just don't blame Bronny. Blame LeBron, which I think Danny was. Bronny's a lot smaller than his dad physically, a ton smaller. Now, LeBron was a much smaller when he came into the league, but I think Bronny's not even that big. Bronny's a lot smaller than his dad physically, and he does have some talent. I agree, and he can develop, but will never be. I agree. He'll never be LeBron. I don't know that anybody expects that. And again, my whole argument is, John, we don't know what he can be. I mean, people may be right. He'll be a bust. But we don't know because there's not enough body of evidence to say, oh, he's got to be a bust. Why? Because he averaged 4 points and 4 rebounds in 15 games at USC last year. after coming off a major medical situation? Come on. And he could be a bust. I don't know. That's the key. And you look at, he could also be a bust now because the pressure and being rushed will hurt him. And I think, I don't know, I see Danny talking about Todd Marinovich. I think that's an interesting parallel to kind of look at. Somebody who was rushed at every level and perhaps did not get a fair chance to meet his potential. Chris, not sure you should keep watching former Major League Baseball stats in the Mexican League. Well, you've got Luke Voigt. You've got who did we just talk about? Yes, well, Puig, and also Bauer. Neither would be successful in Major League Baseball. I agree, but listen. In fairness to Chris, I've tasked him with going out and finding these obscure things to throw at me. Listen, the Mexican League is not like, I mean, it's not a great league, obviously, if these guys are tearing it up, but that's where Fernando got his start. He was either 18, 17 years old pitching there, or he was 40. We don't know which. Danny says he's still working on Todd as well. Good. I wished him a happy birthday and then sent him another message to try to get him on. But thank you for that, Danny, doing that for me. If Betts wasn't hurt, he wins. He should win anyway, though. I mean, to me, whether you're playing or not really shouldn't matter if you're the best player. And he's a better – listen, and you saw Trey Turner play up close too, Danny. He's a really good player, and I'm glad to see that he overcame that horrendous start in Philadelphia where they were ready to drop the Liberty Bell on him and put another crack in it. But Betts should be beating him out. I mean, maybe the fans shouldn't vote. I don't know. I think the fans should vote. It's their game, and they should see who they want to play. Managers have a chance to correct some of that by naming rosters, and they can name more players than they ever named before, especially pitchers, because we don't want pitchers to throw more than one inning because, we don't want pitchers to pitch. Time for back of a baseball card, 87. Gino Petrelli. He works as a plumber. Get out of town. I think I've reached out to Gino to come on the show a while back. 87. Oh, he worked as a plumber in 87. I got you. I don't know what he's doing now. I'm sure I reached out to him a while back. Gotta look him up. I know we're friends on Facebook, so I'll look him up again. Matt, wear their own jerseys. The All-Star game, I mean, good God. Was it last year? I mean, again, I watched, here's what I do. I watched the opening of the game, the players getting introduced because I so like that. I go on YouTube and I Google All-Star games from like the mid-50s through the 80s, even in the 90s, and I watch the player introductions. That's what I want to see. I'm interested in that. See who made the All-Star team, and I go, holy crap, what was that guy doing on the All-Star team? So I'll still watch that, but then they come out. If I'm not, I should not need, especially with the proliferation of baseball on TV today. Every single night you can watch games, the highlights on ESPN and MLB.com and everywhere else. I should not need even a graphic underneath telling me who the guy is. And if you put him in his own uniform, I would know. But last year, I think it was last year, maybe it was the year before, they all wore these atrocious uniforms that you barely could recognize anybody. I recognize Aaron Judge because I see him every day. And he's, 9 foot tall. I think it was last year. I'm one that don't care about the exhibition game. I used to care a lot more. As I said, Danny, you're, I think, in my age bracket. I think we discussed that. And in 1970, it meant something to me. It did. I didn't get to see these players play. Now that I see them all the time, you got interleague play. It's not as big a deal. Maybe you just stop playing the game because it's just not, who cares? There's a good one, Danny. Will Smith, whether he should be the start. Who were the other guys there? I don't remember now. Who did I talk about? Hold on. I got it right here, I think. Catcher. I'll give you that. Will Smith's a good player, a very good catcher. No, I don't think that's a homer. I think that's a great point. And again, I couldn't come up with a lot of people, and I think I may have had him on my mind the other night when we were talking about this on the national streaming sports show Wednesday night. And I couldn't get there. I couldn't when I was trying to think on the fly of some guys. But Will Smith is a guy who I would say definitely is deserving, and I think he'll get named to the team because I'm thinking, well, Realmoto might be hurt too, isn't he? Yeah, he's already hurt, so he's not going to be in. So I think Smith makes the team, and I think he probably has an argument to be the starter for sure. John would give the voting back to the writers, bring back the regular team uniforms. I would do the same thing with the uniforms. I still like the fans having the vote. Again, for years they had the vote, and for a time, they gave it to the writers, and they gave it back to the fans. Then they used to have, if I'm not mistaken, they had a weird system where there was a weighted system. The fans voted, and the players voted, maybe the writers voted too, but they had some kind of weighted system. The NBA is a joke. I mean, all they do is run up and down and dunk. The scores are, I don't know if they've hit 200 yet, but they're going to. Games are 180 to 180 something, 190 to 190 something. No fun. These games used to be fun when I was a kid. And again, in fairness, when I say the players ruin the games in the NBA and the NFL, I was already losing interest because a big part of why I was excited to see these games was I would get to see guys I never got to see. I didn't get to see Willie Mays and Henry Aaron play except in the All-Star game because they weren't in the playoffs every year. I wasn't getting those guys on the game of the week, rarely. Not on the East Coast, we weren't anyway. Stars for a star. Who are you giving that to? Puig? Thank you, Danny. Always thank you. Bader was a spark plug with the Yankees. I agree, Matt. Matt, good to have you with us this morning. Thanks for following the show. I think I saw you follow the show. Guys, some of you who do contribute here a lot, and I do appreciate it. Don't think I don't. Please, some of you still aren't following TGI Sports Talk. Check out, go back, when you go to the TGI Sports Talk page again, make sure you're following the show. That's a big deal. I need to continue to grow that for my own ego. Matt, welcome. You're right. He was a spark plug. And when Bader got hurt 2 years ago in the playoffs, that was a big loss for the Yankees, a big loss, because he was a spark plug and he added an energy. He's a good defensive player, and he adds an energy to the team. I don't care what his numbers are. Oh, again, I care to a certain extent, but he does a lot of stuff that doesn't show up in the box score. Every sport's got guys like that. They contribute, and they're important players. 2 years, 102. That's a little higher than the league minimum, right, Steve? Pretty sure. Carlos, how are you, buddy? Good to have you with us. Carlos, you can put a little plug in for your shows if I get them on before I go off the air here. I got a lot of comments to get to. We're going to be here. I got to get out of here at 11 anyway, guys. Hart. What the hell is that? Are you just throwing things out there and trying to put a curse on me, Kenny? College not the best place to grow and develop a game. Spain, China, and other countries would seem to be better. I don't disagree with that, by the way. Believe it or not, Carlos, I don't disagree with that. I talked about this recently when we talked about the NBA draft and all these guys from France and Australia. I mean, these guys play against better competition at a younger age. The competition there is, and the fundamentals are taught better than they're taught in college basketball as a rule. So I think NBA players taking guys who have played since they're 16 years old in professional leagues in Europe are probably a better bet than a kid who's coming out after 1 year of college. Ken Bias. What? Len Bias? What are we talking about? Hart? Oh, well, I'm not sure how that comes up. If we're talking about Len Bias. You're talking about your Celtics situation? Man, Len Bias died of a heart attack from using cocaine, which was his first night ever using it. After the NBA draft, the night after the NBA draft, when he was drafted by the Celtics, it was his first night ever using it. He had like $30,000 worth of it under the seat of his car in case he liked it. But I Kenny, I apologize. I just don't get the correlation. And I may have missed something in the communication here, so I apologize. No MLB team yet, Keith. Come on, Michael. You want to follow the Yankees and listen to me bash them week after week. James McCann. Oh, my God. Oh, my back is killing me. Don't cut down trees when you're 64 years old. It's not a good idea. James McCann, Orioles catcher, pitched in a blowout last night against the A's. Kyle McCann, A's catcher, hit a pinch hit homer off James' 45-mile-an-hour Ephus pitch. There you go. Drew, I may now task you with inane facts. That's an ancient. By the way, this is something I think, if I'm not mistaken, Jeff Fry is seriously hates seeing this as entertainment in a blowout. He had posted I don't remember who it was, but there was a pitcher pitching this. They're getting blown out and they're laughing and having fun. I think it was the Red Sox actually were getting killed against somebody. And he said, this wouldn't have happened in my day as far as us, laughing and joking during a blowout. But I don't know. You play 162 games. You're going to have all those games you get blown out and you might as well have some fun with it. First two picks, not even from U.S. college. Actually, there was, I think, five of the top 11 players did not go to a U.S. college, Carlos. So there you go. First two guys were from France. Here we go. Shine and Dabo have 2 more seasons and then bye-bye. Well, that's 5 seasons. That'd be 5 seasons, and that's fair. Which means Buffalo personnel should never be a New York City team because this is another level. What? Buffalo is a whole lot better team than either one of the New York teams have been for a decade. And I would argue throughout their history, Buffalo's far more successful than the Jets, except for winning 1 Super Bowl. So that, again, so you blew it. You had a one, I agree with you, streak going, Carlos, and then you totally blow it up, saying Buffalo personnel should never be a New York City team because this is another level. Now, I say there's certain players who can't play in New York. I get that. They built those teams that are better than the team that you're talking about. Where are they choking? I want to know if you're watching Hard Knocks, by the way, because it was a very interesting first episode, I thought. Atlanta will do better than both the Jets and the Giants. They better. Or everybody should get fired there. They're all in. Plus, they draft perfect. Again, you talk about inept front offices. Here's one. First of all, they don't hire the best coach available. They hire a guy who's a retread who failed. And again, the guy they didn't hire failed once too, which is fine. But then they go out and pay $140 million for a quarterback and then hire the first pick in the draft is a guy to back him up and play 4 years from now when he'll be 28 or 29 years old. Help the guy now. CA, wife fired up the mobile computer, changed to 20. She'll play it if we get 19. Set date. Oh, change to 20. She'll play if we get 19. Set date August 8th. I don't know what day that is, so that's probably fine. If there's an issue, I'll let you know. But can change date and times. Once full league chat, we can offer feedback. Okay. So I got to remember to get this to the if you were in the league last year, then go get in it again. And if you weren't, look for it on my personal page and also the TGI Sports Talk page. We got to get here earlier, Carlos. It was fine. You want to trade 80? I guarantee you right now, the Raiders would consider trading even up. Healthy, and again, I understand you got to get the field for it to matter. Healthy, Daniel Jones is a better quarterback than Aiden O'Connell. Why do I want to add that other end? Kevin Myers, excuse me, welcome. Cousins could use the main target. Well, he's got Diggs. I'm not sure who the wide receivers are there now that I think about it. Let me just take a quick look. Where do they play? Are they in the league? There we go. Let me take a look at his receivers. Like, first of all, they got a frontline back. Bijan Robinson is really good, and I think he'll catch the ball out of the backfield as well. By the way, Drake London has come along nicely. Diggs is a really good tight end who plays more like a wide receiver. I think they could use some more depth there. I know they like Rondell Moore, and Darnell Mooney is listed as the other starter. So I think they've got in Pitts. I'm thinking of Stephon Diggs. Pitts. They've got a top-notch tight end who really can play wide receiver, and I think Drake London is going to be, one of the better wide receivers in the NFL. They need some depth there. Which again, Kevin, why are you taking Michael Pitts? Michael Pitts. I'm all over the place here. Why are you taking Michael Penix with a 7th pick in the draft? What are you doing? You're in it to win now. That's funny. I don't remember Steve Young ever backing up Tom Brady. They didn't draft him, though, by the way. They didn't have Joe Montana and bring him in to win this year. He was already there and established. Steve Young was a failure in the NFL with the Bucs, by the way. A failure. Not a great player at all. And they brought him in and rehabilitated him. To me, that's a totally different thing. And he didn't back up the greatest quarterback of all time. He backed up the second greatest quarterback of all time. Just saying. No way Atlanta does better than the Jets, and I'm not Aaron Rodgers. I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan. No, who is other than Aaron Rodgers? Listen. I think the Jets will do all right this year. I think the Jets, if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, can still play after missing out at 40 plus years old. After missing a year, I think the Jets will be fine. And I think they could win that division. But I said that last year. I picked the Jets to win the Super Bowl last year. Shows you what I know. But you're right, Kevin. I think the Jets have a really good team. And by the way, I'm not a big Aaron Rodgers fan, but he's a better player than Kirk Cousins. Just is. Atlanta will find someone in cuts after preseason for wide receivers. Let me know if and when you want to review your preseason picks so we can. I probably next show how much we don't know about baseball. That's pretty obvious. Weekly. I'm thinking Friday, Drew. So I'll reach out to you during the week. I got a really busy week coming up with work and some medical appointments as well. So if I lose track for some reason, I want you 3:00 Friday. Depending, unless your cost has gone up. We'll try to get in a few minutes early and hope your mic is okay. I don't know the answer. Have you noticed? I don't know, Drew. You probably haven't popped in, but James Martin now is having the same problem on Mac and Jack shows. It's exactly the problem that we've had with you, and I've usually been able to correct it by just playing with the mic settings, your audio settings. I think we had a bigger problem last time, but let's hope we don't this time. Purdy first. Steve-O, good to have you with us. Don't know if we've had Steve-O with us before. Purdy, first $60 million quarterback. They don't need to sign him, though. I don't think for another 2 years, right? I think his rookie deal, which, by the way, they're getting a steal. I don't know why and again, if you're a 49er fan, don't take offense. It's a really good team, and I think Purdy has some really good leadership ability, and he runs the football really well. There's times I worry about the arm strength, but again, people said the same thing about Brady early in his career, and you can't dispute the success he's had, other than when he broke his arm in a playoff game. I didn't break his arm, but you know what I mean. Great player. Somebody's getting $60 million pretty soon. It's going to be Dak. It's going to be Purdy. It's just a matter of time. Dak's in a boot. I think it's just a precautionary thing from what I read. Again, you get a picture taken with a boot. You remember when Tom Brady was pictured with a boot before the Super Bowl? That's not why they lost to the Giants. A lot of guys, when there's some injuries, they'll wear a boot, as a precaution. So I wear a boot now, usually over my head to make sure I don't hurt it when I walk around. I love that in the mid 90s with the Blue Jays. We got to get through here, guys. I love that in the mid 90s with the Blue Jays, the Gord Ash years. Free agency was like a shopping list. We need a carrot and a potato and a can of juice done. I remember when free agency first hit in the 70s, it was very interesting. They actually had, for those of you who weren't around then, the very first free agency class in 1976, 76? Yeah, or 77. 76, I think, was the first one. They had a draft, and you could only pick X amount of players, and those are the players you could negotiate with. So, and then the Players Association said that was limiting the players' ability to negotiate. So, check out your DL players. well, I think you're down with me. So, you're actually 11 games ahead of me. Can I see? Let me see who your DL guys are. Schwarber, Tatis, Betts. Well, there you go. Tatis and Betts I'll give you. Schwarber stinks. I hate Schwarber. Never be on my team. And Musgrove. Well, I've got you beaten in quantity, and I'm pretty close in quantity. My money, fantasy baseball, league lights up like a Christmas tree, all in red lights. My money, fantasy baseball, league lights up like a Christmas tree. For some reason, I'm not following. Sherman's was a great place back in the day, wasn't it, Kenny? And I hope they're doing something really cool now. Well, maybe they rebuilt it because Kenny's saying they had this big deal at Sherman's. I think that's what I asked him. They may have rebuilt it. And I do remember that it burnt down at one point. ESPN The Zone in Times Square. I remember that. That was a colossal failure. Well, it was good for a while. What was the other place? There was a few places. Broadway Joe's was a big place. They use old bumper stickers, car building to hold the musician. They use the old bumper car building to hold music. I remember the bumper car building was right out near the front, right? That's pretty cool. I like it when they throw back a little bit. Food was blah, and it took forever to get drinks. Most of those chains are like that. I mean, yeah, no, they had some fire. I think Steven's right. They had some kind of fire there, but I don't think it destroyed the entire structure. Whoa, slow down. Don't yell at me, Kevin. Well, listen, I said the same thing last year. I said I said they'd win the division. I said they'd win the Super Bowl, and I fell on my face 3 plays into the season or whatever it was. Kevin, I'm trying to remember your team. I want to say you're a Baltimore fan. I think I might mix you up with Anthony once in a while. One of you is a Redskins fan. One of you is a Baltimore fan. I think he's a Redskin fan. Maybe I got it mixed up. I'm not sure. I wish the 4 major sports league only had 3 divisions. This 4 division, 3 wild cards is crazy. Agreed. If I was up to me and I was a Major League Baseball commissioner, which I'll never be, we would go back to 2 divisions and no wild cards. How about that? Oh, this is recently? I'm thinking years ago, Steve, actually. Well, Kenny was there last night, or this weekend sometime, so I'm guessing that's not probably accurate. 17 complete games for all of baseball. Back in the times we had 17 pitchers with 15 or more complete games. Agreed. Probably more than that, Kenny. Probably more than 17 pitchers. Well, maybe at this point in the season, yes. Analytics is a joke. Thank you. Thank you. Anytime I hear stuff like that, it's just music to my ears. Carlos played in Mexico the year he got the hit off Nolan Ryan. Oh, guys, I got to wrap this up, so please wind down your comments so I can get cleaned up here. Puig was 22-23 when he debuted. Okay. I don't know why I thought he was 19. Still, he's 34 years old now, and I feel old. There were bets that he would score 8 points yesterday. Well, you can bet anything, right? I can go to, and this isn't just Bronny. I go to FanDuel and bet on any player in any game to get X amount of points, X amount of rebounds, X amount of assists. And this is the way we watch the games now. I like your fantasy football when we can draft offense and defensive players. I do too, Anthony, and I hope that's not one thing that CA is looking to change. So don't do that. I like drafting individual players for sure. And we'll get that up so that you can get in. Everybody can get in early. We can get to 20. I'd love to get to 20 teams. Had a player say that no left-handed catcher ever played pro ball. And no one ever will because the batter's protecting third base. Steal, I say bullshit. If one came up and was a true MLB talent, he'd be there. I don't disagree. There was a guy on, if you have Netflix, you need to watch The Battered Bastards of Baseball. I think I've talked about it on the show before. They were an independent league team in the middle 70s owned by Bing Russell. Bing Russell was a very prolific actor in the fact that he acted in everything. He was like in every Western ever in the history of television. He was on Bonanza for a bunch of years. He was probably on. He probably was a guest on every show ever that was a Western. He bought this team and he put together this. It's a great story, right? I bring it up because I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head. We just watched it again the other night. My wife enjoyed it even. It's a documentary about this show, and they had a left-handed catcher. I can't remember his name for anything. Independent league baseball. I agree with you, Kenny. They could play. They could, but they don't make kids who are left-handed catchers in little league for that reason. You're the only guy I ever saw catch. Hey, there was some other kid. I think. I'm trying to think. Somewhere during the course of my early years, there was another left-handed catcher I remember besides you. John Gonzalez, the NFL All-Star game is definitely the worst. I think the NBA is the worst, but with the NFL's gone, so they don't have one anymore. They've done away with it. They got skill competitions and a flag football game. That's fine. Do something like that. Torrens is doing better for all the. Who's Torrens? Torrens is doing better for the times he has played defense and offense than most catchers have done in a full season. He won't be in the All-Star team, but when he gets a chance, when he plays, get a chance to watch. I will. I'm not recognizing the name for some reason. NBA All-Star game is bad because nobody plays defense. It's like a game at the Y. I don't disagree, Anthony. Impossible to watch. Thank you, CA. I'll grab that and get it posted this afternoon. 3 MLB games tonight live over here in the UK. TNT Sports. Phillies and Braves, you got a good match up there. Blue Jays and Mariners. Blue Jays are stinking it up, right? Red Sox and Yankees. Nice. You got some good coverage. Oh, you're not a TNT subscriber. You got to pay for TNT over there. And I'm guessing it's a different TNT. Well, that sucks, Michael. An issue with dealing with celebrity. It's an issue with dealing with celebrity Pugh. You nailed it by being shocked at his age now. He's been a good boy the past, he's dealing with crap in the past that keeps coming up. These guys just don't get it sometimes. No, again, it's me, Bronny. Bronny has a heart issue. Oh, okay, I got it. And if he continues, it will be another LeBron Len Bias story. Sorry, not including the Coke. Okay, fair enough. I couldn't get the. Again, it's not. I wouldn't compare it to the Len Bias story because the only reason that I'm aware of that Len Bias died, I don't remember reading he had a heart issue, except that he, did a prolific amount of cocaine, which stopped his heart. And again, I still remember the stories how it was the first time he ever did it, and it was so sad. And then the stories came out that he had like $30,000 worth of it under his car seat in case he liked it. You were talking about Bronny's health issues, and Ken said heart. I get it. Yeah, I get it. Now I get it. It's hard because there's so many comments, and please, I want comments. You guys make this show go. I love it. It's just hard. You got to remember that a lot of stuff comes up in between my saying something and your guys replying or me getting to your reply. Buffalo has better personnel than the Jets and Giants combined. That's true. Even after unloading half of it. I do think the Giants could have a good year this year. I think the Jets will have a good season this year, and I do think the Giants will maybe challenge for a playoff spot. We'll see. Daniel Jones has got to be healthy. End of story. If you watch Hard Knocks, they make it clear. We have a $40 million quarterback. We're not signing a running back for a bunch of money to hand the ball off to. PDC World Championships start next weekend. Only the world's is a bigger paycheck. $200,000 for first place. I got to start shooting darts. I still think Tampa wins the South. Alan, how are you, buddy? Good to have you with us. We'll get into that more. Randolph from the Pirates in 76. Willie Randolph, great steal for the Yankees. By the way, at that time, the Yankees made that trade. Everybody thought they were, they had traded Doc Medich to the Pirates and got Doc Ellis, Ken Brett, who they thought were the major players in this trade. And there was a throw-in that the Yankees insisted they get named Willie Randolph. Thanks, Drew. Great for having you. Good to have you. Have a great week yourself. And Keith, I didn't catch that part. We're Perth graduates. Give us a break. Drew, next Friday for sure. Ken Myers-Rogers will make sixth place this year and then run to his cave. We're getting close to the end here, guys. Rick, was that after Carlos played college basketball? Carlos, welcome back. Rick Sherlock, I was a bat boy for the Guadalajara, at Guadalajara many moons back. Yes, I definitely could have played there. I could play there now, Carlos. At 64 years, overweight, I could go there and hit. Probably not. 20 teams is too many. It's watered down. It waters down all the teams. I don't think so. There's too many. There's a lot of great players. I like, again, not to disparage any other. When you've got so many teams in Major League Baseball and in the NFL, I don't mind a watered down team. I like to have to. To me, it's more challenging to scrounge and find players than just have, good players available at all times. Anyway, I played in 20-team leagues. I've played in 14-team leagues, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, again, if we decide to go that way and somebody doesn't want to get in, I don't have a problem. I appreciate that. I don't know that we'll get to 20 teams anyway, Rick. It's a much different experience because you've got to, you have to find guys. The thing is, with 20 teams, having guys who only contribute, a certain amount, don't play every day. Third down backs become much more valuable when you have deeper leagues. But again, I respect that. This season, 8 offense, 8 defense, took off an extra defensive lineman, added an overall defensive player, 2 linebackers now. We can make changes before the draft. I'm okay with one guy at all those positions, especially if we get to a higher number of teams, CA. I'm okay with, one defensive lineman, one linebacker, one secondary guy or whatever. We'll talk about it. Either way, there's a lot of time to talk about. Michael Gott, come over to the Dodgers. Keith Engle, don't bash them so much. Take care. Go Yanks. Thank you, Matt, for popping in. Thank you for all of you popping in today. Great. This show's got to sign off sooner once football starts. Steel tip darts isn't any bigger in the North. Isn't any bigger in the Northeast. Huge big leagues, y'all, in y'all's areas. I played darts years ago, and I don't know. I can't tie myself up like that. I only play in 1-team leagues. I like to win. Have a good day, Kenny. There's not that many E's in my name either. All right, guys. It's been a great show. A lot of fun as always. Have a happy Sunday. We'll be back on Friday, one-on-one with Brett Saberhagen. Remember, College Football Huddle on hiatus in July for Wednesdays. I will still be on the national streaming sports show on Wednesdays, which I will share to my page as well. You guys have a great Sunday. I'll see you next week. Enjoy the rest of the holiday weekend.